Imagine you're a soldier fighting in a war. You get captured. The enemy forces you to fight for them, then you get captured again by a different army. They force you to fight for them too. Then captured again. Third army, third uniform, third war. Impossible, right? No, this happened to one man, Kyoungjong, Korean, born 1920. At 18 years old, 1938, conscripted by Japanese Imperial Army. Korea under Japanese occupation, no choice. Sent to Manchuria. 1939, Battle of Khalkhin Gol. Fighting Soviets, captured, becomes Soviet prisoner. Forced into Red Army. 1942, Eastern Front. Fighting Germans, captured again. By Wehrmacht. Germans force him into their army. 1944, D-Day, Normandy. Fighting Americans, captured third time. By U.S. Army. Americans find him. Korean man. In German uniform. On French beach. How? Nobody believed his story. 3 armies. Japanese, Soviet, German. The only soldier in World War II who fought for 3 different sides. Not by choice. By fate. This is Kyoungjong, the man who couldn't escape war. But wait, before we get into this story, if you love absurd stories, if you love this can't be real, but it is stories, or if you just want to see how crazy war can be, subscribe right now, because this story's incredible. Literally. Kyoungjong, 3 armies, 1 man, absolutely insane, and hit that like button because this story needs to be known. A forgotten Korean, nobody knows his name, but his story, wow. Okay, let's start. Kyoungjong, 1920 to 1992, the man who couldn't escape war. First, who's Kyoungjong? Born 1920, Korea. But which Korea? Because back then, Korea wasn't independent. Japan occupied it. Since 1910, Korea now Japanese colony. Chosen, they called it. Koreans not citizens. Subjects, second class. Japanese language mandatory. Korean banned in schools. Names forced to change to Japanese. Culture erased. And young men conscripted. Forcibly. Not their choice. To fight for Japanese army. For the army occupying their own country. Imagine this. You're 18, and the army occupying your country conscripts you. Can you refuse? No. Can you run? Maybe, but what happens to family? Threats. Pressure. So you go. Kyoungjong went. 1938. Age 18. 1938, Kyoungjong in Japanese Imperial Army. They give him uniform, khaki color, rising sun patch, Tenno Heika Banzai. Long live the emperor? They teach him how to march, use weapons, take orders. And where do they send him? Manchuria, northeast China. Why? Because Japan's having border clashes with Soviets there. Small skirmishes, but 1939 it gets big. Khalkhin Gol, Soviet-Japanese War, major battle, tanks, artillery, air combat, and Kyoungjong's there. Age 19, on the front line, Soviet Red Army attacking. Powerful, very powerful. Japanese units getting crushed. Yang's unit destroyed, dead, wounded, and prisoners. Yang captured. August 1939. In Soviet hands, first captivity, first change. Japanese uniform coming off. What comes next? Soviet POW camp. Siberia, cold, very cold. Yang and other Japanese prisoners, but Yang's not actually Japanese. Korean. Does it matter? To Soviets, no. All enemies. Camp life hard. Starvation, disease, hard labor. Cutting timber in forest, working in mines, most dying from cold, from hunger, from disease. Yang survives. How? Lucky? Strong, maybe? Who knows? But 1941, something changes. Germany attacks Soviets. June 1941, Operation Barbarossa. Massive invasion, Soviets panicking. Need soldiers desperately. Where to find them? POW camps. Anyone who can fight gets taken. And Yang, Japanese prisoner, but young, healthy. Join Red Army or die in camp? That's the choice. What's Yang do? Joins. To survive. Second uniform, Soviet brown, Red Star. 1942. Yang's now in Red Army. But which unit? Labor battalions. Trudovaya Armia. Usually don't fight. Construction work. Fortifications. Trenches. But Eastern Front going very badly. Germans advancing. Stalingrad, Caucasus. Millions of Soviet soldiers dying. Every man needed. even labor battalions, and Yang's units sent to front, Ukraine, maybe Caucasus. Don't know exactly. Records incomplete, but we know. Caught in German attack. Summer-fall 1942. Germans still on offense, Soviet units losing, retreating, or getting surrounded. Yang's unit surrounded, Germans approaching, battle brief, intense, Soviet resistance broken. Yang captured again, this time by Germans. Second captivity. How long was he in Soviet army? Maybe a year, maybe less. Now third uniform. German gray. German POW camp, Eastern Front, thousands of Soviet prisoners, terrible conditions. Germans treating Soviet prisoners horribly. Why? Ideology? Nazis see Slavs as inferior race, starvation, disease, death. Millions of Soviet POWs will die during war. Yang's there, about to die, but an opportunity. Germans recruiting some prisoners. Ostlegionen, Eastern Legions, Soviet prisoners, to fight for German army. Why do they accept? Alternative, die in POW camp. So they accept. Russian, Ukrainian, Kazakh, and a Korean man. Yang accepts again, no choice, to survive. Third time, third army, third uniform, Wehrmacht, Feldgrau, gray, German soldier, but actually none of them. Just a Korean trying to survive. 1943 to 1944. Yang's in Wehrmacht, but where's he stationed? Back to Eastern Front? No, West, France. Why? Because Germans know. Allies coming. Invasion coming. To France. Second Front. So they're building Atlantic Wall. Defense line, Normandy beaches, concrete bunkers, minefields, barbed wire. And who's building? Workers, prisoners. And who's guarding? Germans, but not good German units. Best ones on Eastern Front, Russia. In Normandy, second-rate units, old men, kids, and Ostlegionen, Eastern Legions, units made of Soviet prisoners. Yang's here, near Utah Beach, June 1944. Waiting. For what? For invasion. Doesn't know. But his life's about to change again. June 6, 1944. Morning, Normandy, Utah Beach. Yang on guard duty, or in bunker. Don't know exactly. But we know early morning noise starts. Planes, bombardment, naval gunfire, landing craft approaching, American Army, massive assault, beaches filling up, thousands of soldiers, tanks, weapons, German defense, strong in some places, but collapsing most places, Ostlegionen units especially weak. Why? Because they don't want to die for Germany. Forced to be there. First chance. Surrender. Some running. Some hiding. What's Yang doing? Don't know. But result, captured by Americans. Third captivity. Not Fourth Army. Just prisoner. Again. But this time different. Because Americans looking at him thinking, what? American soldiers looking. Prisoner. German uniform, but Asian? Japanese? No. Japanese and Pacific. What's he doing here? Interpreter called. Yang trying to speak. Knows little German. No English. Speaking Korean. Nobody understands. Finally, they find someone knows Japanese. Maybe. Yang remembers some Japanese from 1938. Slowly story emerges. I'm Korean. Japanese forced me. Soviets captured me. Made me fight for them. Germans captured me. Made me fight for them. Now you captured me. Americans. This is crazy. We don't believe you. 3 armies? Impossible. But Yang insists. Story's consistent, has details, they check, records. Maybe other prisoners know him. Slowly starting to believe. Wow, it's real. Only case in entire war. 3 armies, 1 man. Yang sent to American POW camp, first England, then maybe America. Not much clear information. Prisoner until war ends. May 1945, Germany surrenders. Prisoners released. Where's Yang going? Can he return to Korea? Complicated. August 1945, Japan surrenders, Korea free, but not independent, divided. North, Soviet occupation, communist. South, American occupation, capitalist. Yang returns to South Korea, around 1947. Home. But what kind of home? 6 years later, everything changed. Family? Don't know. Maybe alive, maybe not. War destroyed a lot, and Yang himself? Trauma? PTSD. 3 armies. How many deaths did he see? How many times could he have died? Countless, but alive. Miraculous, but at what cost? Yang in South Korea? Maybe farmer, maybe worker. Quiet life, trying to forget war. But 1950. North Korea attacks. Korean War starts. War again. Again. Did Yang get draft notice again? Don't know. Maybe considered too old. Age 30. Maybe had health issues. Maybe just lucky. But records don't show Yang fighting in Korean War, thank God. 3 armies enough. Don't need 4th. War ends 1953. Armistice. Korea still divided north and south. And Yang continues living in south, quietly. Unknown. Nobody knows his story. Because who'd believe it? 3 armies. Nobody believes. Yang Kyoungjong living. Long life. 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. Korea developing rapidly. From war, poverty to wealth. Economic miracle. But Yang, simple life. Probably had family. Maybe children. Maybe grandchildren. Did he tell them his story? Maybe. Maybe not. Because who believes? Grandpa fought for 3 armies, Japanese, Soviet, German. Kids think Grandpa's seeing things. 1992. Yang dies, age 72, quiet death, funeral, small family, maybe few friends. Nobody pays attention because nobody knows. Who's Yang Kyoungjong? Just old man. War veteran, thousands exist? Nothing special, right? But there is, just nobody knows, yet. 2006, 14 years after Yang's death. A researcher, maybe historian, maybe journalist, working in American archives, D-Day records, prisoner interrogations, and finds a file. Interesting. Asian prisoner, German uniform, Utah Beach, name Yang Kyoungjong, or similar spelling. Story, 3 armies. Wow, is this real? Checking, German records, Ostlegionen lists, Soviet records, difficult, but pieces fitting. Japanese records, Korean conscripts, 1938. Name matches, everything fits. This guy really fought for 3 armies. First verified case. In all of World War II, maybe in all history, researcher publishes, article, maybe book. Story spreads, internet, social media, people learning. Who's Yang Kyoungjong? Wow. But why forgotten? 50 years. Why didn't anyone know? Several reasons. First, Yang didn't talk. Maybe ashamed. I fought for 3 armies. People think, traitor. But he wasn't. Forced. Every time. Second, nobody would believe. 3 armies, ridiculous, he's lying. Not credible. Third, records scattered. Japanese records in Japan, Soviet records in Russia, German records fragmented, American records in archives. Nobody connected them. Until 2006, fourth, Korea divided, North and South relations bad. History research difficult. Fifth, Yang wasn't famous, wasn't hero, just victim, so forgotten. But now remembered, late but better than never. Tough question, was Yang a traitor? Fought for 3 different armies, Japanese, Soviet, German. Technically, yes, but really? No. Why? Because he had no choice in any of them. Japanese forced him. Soviets forced him. Germans forced him. Every time alternative, fight or die. What would you do? I know, I'd survive. Yang did too. Chose survival. That's not treason. That's survival, but some people don't understand. He fought for enemy. But which enemy? Korea's enemy was Japan. Yang fought for Japan, forced, then for Soviets, forced, then for Germans, forced. Every time victim, never could be hero, just survivor. That's tragic because he never had choice. So other cases, did anyone else fight for 3 armies? Research shows no, Yang's the only one. Why? Because very specific conditions needed. First, Japanese army generally conscripted Asians. Koreans, Taiwanese, they could be captured by Soviets. Second, Soviets forcibly conscripted some prisoners, but most died. Survival hard. Third, Germans conscripted some Soviet prisoners, Ostlegionen, but most stayed on Eastern Front. Very few sent to Normandy. Fourth, Americans, capturing, surviving, going through all these stages, incredible luck, or unluck, depending on perspective. Yang went through all, alone, so he's the only one. Only verified case. Maybe others existed, but not in records. Yang's known. Only one. Today in South Korea, is Yang remembered? A bit. After 2006, his story spread. In Korean media, articles, maybe TV programs, people learned, wow, Korea has such a story. But not widespread, because Yang wasn't hero, just survived. Korea loves heroes, resistance fighters, independence struggle. Yang? He just survived. So not very famous, but some historians care, because Yang's story shows what war means for individuals. No choice, no control, just trying to survive. Fate, luck, tragedy. Yang's a symbol for war's victims, for the helpless, for the forgotten. Maybe not hero, but should be remembered. Definitely. Personally, this story reminds me of something. War's absurdity. People talk heroism, honor, country. But ask Yang, which country? Korea was occupied. Fight for Japan? Forced. For Soviets? Forced. For Germany? Forced. None were his choice. War for individuals, usually like this. Big decisions made by politicians, by generals, but ordinary people just trying to survive. Yang's extreme example, but principles same. War controls people. People don't control war. Yang's 3 armies show. Individual is nothing. Historical forces massive. Can't control. Just try to survive. And if lucky, you survive. Yang did, but at what cost? Did others change sides? Yes, but differently. Example, some Soviet prisoners volunteered for German army. Really? Hated communism. Made choice. Or some Germans defected to West End of war to escape Soviets. Choice. But Yang never made choice, always forced. That's difference. Or example, Lori Turney, Finnish soldier, fought against Soviets, then volunteered for Germany, then emigrated to America, fought for U.S. Army in Vietnam, 3 armies, but all voluntary, made choices. Yang didn't make choices ever, so different. Yang's victim, others chose, this makes Yang unique. Forced 3 armies, nobody else. What do we learn from Yang's story? First, war's unpredictable. When Yang joined Japanese Army 1938, did he think he'd be in Normandy? Never, but was. Second, survival is everything. Yang chose survival every time. Right or wrong, alive. So right. Third, history forgets small people. Yang forgotten 50 years. Why? Because not famous. Just one of numbers. Fourth, truth sometimes stranger than fiction. 3 armies, who believes? But true. Fifth, individual control illusion. Big events control individual. Individual doesn't control big events. Yang lived this. Sixth, we must remember forgotten ones. Yang and millions like him, because they fought too, survived, and forgotten. Injustice. Did Yang's story become film? Partly. 2011 Korean film My Way came out. Similar story. Korean and Japanese friends. Japanese Army, Soviet Army, German Army, Normandy. Inspired by Yang, but dramatized. Not exactly true, but themes same. Forced conscription. Survival. 3 armies. Film was popular. People learned such stories existed, but most still don't know Yang's real. Think just movie story, not real. Yang Kyoungjong, real. 1920 to 1992. Lived, fought, survived, forgotten, then remembered. And now we're telling, so he won't be forgotten. Yang Kyoungjong, 1920 to 1992. Korean. Age 18. Japanese Army forced him. Age 19. Soviets captured him. Forced into Red Army. Age 22. Germans captured him. Forced into Wehrmacht. Age 24. Americans captured him. Finally, freedom. 3 armies, 6 years war. 4 different continents maybe. Asia to Europe, Manchuria to Normandy. Made no choices, forced every time. Chose survival. That's not treason. That's survival. Died. 1992. Quietly, forgotten. 14 years later, remembered. Now we know. Only man. 3 armies. In all history. Yang Kyoungjong. The man who couldn't escape war, but survived. Let's not forget him and millions like him, because they're war's real victims. No names, just numbers, but each one a story. Yang's we know, others forgotten, but all should be remembered, never forgotten. So what do you think? Write in comments. Was Yang hero, victim, both? Tough question. Let's discuss. And if this story affected you, forgotten Korean, 3 armies, nobody knows his name, hit that like button, because Yang should be remembered. His story needs to be known. Don't forget to subscribe. Every day, new stories, sometimes unknown heroes, sometimes incredible stories, sometimes forgotten tragedies, but always real, always important. Turn on notifications, because next story is going to be amazing too. Maybe another forgotten hero, maybe another absurd story. Who knows? See you in next video. Until then, remember, young Kyoungjong, 3 armies, never made choice, just tried to survive, and succeeded, then forgotten. But we remember now. Let's not forget. See you.